everyone, I am April Rose Beyond that, and I will be reporting the definition of the groups, the difference between a group and a crowd, why do people join a groups, and the type of groups. A group is a bunch of people who know they're part of something together. They share a sense of belonging, like being on the same team or being part of the same club. It's not just about being in the same place at the same time. It's about interacting with each other, sharing experiences, and working together. For example, a bunch of people waiting in a line at a coffee shop. They're all there for the same reason, but they're not really a group. They're just individuals. But if those people start chatting, sharing something in common, and they interact with each other, that makes them a group. Difference between a group and a crowd. Number 1. A group is permanent like a family, while a crowd is temporary like people gathered for a concert or a protest. Number 2. A group has a member who know each other and have a relationship, like classmates or teammates, while a crowd is just a selection of individuals who may not know each other. Number 3. A group usually have a leader or leadership structure, while crowds are generally leaderless. Number 4. A group tend to be organized and act in a more controlled way, while crowds can be more chaotic and impulsive. And last, number 5. Groups are structured and have a purpose, while a crowd are less organized and may not have a clear goal. An example of why do people join groups. Number 1. Emotional support. Groups can provide emotional support. When you are going through a tough time, having people you can rely on makes a big difference. Second, common interests. People join groups because they have common interests. Maybe you love to play video games or you really love into photography. Joining a group with people who share your interests can be a lot of fun. Third, common goals. Maybe you want to raise money for charity. Working together with others can help you achieve those goals. Last, assignments and mandatory. Group can be a source of help. Maybe you need advice or you need someone to help you with a project. 2 types of groups, primary group and secondary group. Primary group described by Charles Collet as those characterized by intimate face-to-face association and cooperation. This is like your family or really close friends. You see them all the time, you know them really well, and they have a big impact on who you are. It's like you're all mixed together, and you share a lot of the same experiences and feelings. Secondary group, those which do not necessarily involve face-to-face association or intimate and personal relations. This is like your classmates or your teammates. You might not see them as often, and you might not know them as well as your primary group, but you still interact with them, and you're aware of them. It's like you're all part of the same team, but you don't necessarily hang out outside of that team.
Characters of groups. Number 1 is interactions. Interactions is very important in characteristics in groups because it needs mutual influence in physical and verbal, also in emotional. The second is structure. Stable patterns of relationship. There are 3 types of structures: rules, norms, and member relations. Rules is behavior expected of members in given positions. In norms, rules and identify and describe the appropriate behaviors. Inter-members relations, how they relate and authority of communication. In characters of group also the very important is they need goals. In groups, they need goals for reason of existence of their groups, of course. The 4 is perceived groupness, extent to which members see themselves as one. Of course, they need to see that they are one and belong of the groups. Dynamic interdependency, extent to which members are active, energized, vibrant, and changes. Of course, in a groups, they need to be an active and it should be energized and vibrant. In a group, uh, also, the last one is motivation. In in a kind of a group, they need a motivation that to why they continue their goals, their aims in their groups. What are they actually need? Uh, Motivation needs, personal needs are and again being satisfied. So that's all.
So group size. How many group members is too many? Well, this is a controversial decision as a saying goes to hands are better than one. There is a strength in having a significant number of members to pursue a goal. Well, there is also a saying that too many cooks swell the broth. Having too many members can create conflicts. So five kabo ang advantage of a small group. So number one, interact more with each other and easier to coordinate. So for example, of a group that interacts more with each other and is easier to coordinate is a sport team. So interaction, communication constantly during games, and coordination. They have a clearly defined roles, a shared understanding of the game plan. So next, more motivated, satisfied, and committed. Motivation. They are driven by a shared passion of for making of difference in their community. So second, satisfaction. They experience a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment for contributing to meaningful causes. So it's here to share information. Share and platform they can cast and contribute to central repository of the documents, text, and update. So role time and communication. They can collaborate and role time through chat and futures comments and notification. So next, the faster as a completing text. So for example, if you're thinking for a trip, make a checklist of everything you need to you. Do not forget anything important. So next, individuals perform better in similar groups. For example, a team for four designers working on a new product concept can more effectively brainstorm and share ideas in a similar, focused cities compared to a larger group. So next, advantage of a big group. So number one, more members of ideas. For example, a group of people working together can create more ideas than a single person working alone. So next, the more resources at their disposal to have a group goal. So for example, equipment, advanced technology tools, and vehicles ethics. Next, the more possible division of labor. So for example, of a more possible division of a labor is in a large software development company.
Afternoon, dear gracias. These are the communication, the three communication conference and the understanding of meaning. So there are four understanding of meaning, which is the communication functions. So in communication functions, there are control member behavior. Dapat control nila yung behavior sa amigo. For example, nagbinuang sila. So dapat communicate po ka mo, voice out ka nila nga ganong badloon makay para mo kalma sila sa ilaang pagkagaran. And faster motivation for what it is to be done, provide a release for emotional expression. When it comes to emotional expression, kung for example, kung is it sad ba ang inyong istorya, sa manimubugan niya, is it sad or is it mad ba, kung suko ka niya, kung sa'yo nabuhat nimo. That's two examples of our emotional expression kung natay ka istorya nga tao. And lastly, provide information needed to make decisions. So, direta sa interpersonal communication. So, in interpersonal communication, we need oral communication. There are two advantages. There are one advantage and one disadvantages. So, in advantages, we have speed and feedback. In disadvantages, there are distortion of the message. So, in B, written communication. So, there is a one advantages again and one disadvantages on written communication. So we have in advantage, we are tangible and verifiable. In disadvantages, we have time consuming and lack feedback. So in non-verbal communication, we have body movement, intonations, facial expressions. Of course, kung parehas kanina, sa pag-istorya na pwede emotion, please, ato kung naong na pwede emotion. So, and lastly, physical distance. Distansya ka, basta wala ka balo, nalay siya COVID. That's all.
Is the barriers to effective communication. So, number one is filtering. Filtering is changing information to make it sound better to the receiver. So, ang example ani is, imagine telling your friend their new haircut looks unique when you actually think it's awful. You're filtering the message to avoid hurting their feelings. So, next, number two is selective perception. So, selective perception is seeing only what you want to see based on your own experiences. So, example is two people watch a political debate. One, a supporter of candidate A, sees candidate A as their clear winner. The other is a supporter of candidate B, sees candidate B as the winner. So they each filter what they see based on their existing beliefs. So next is number 3 is information overload. So information overload is getting too much information at once, making it hard to process. Example, think about checking your emails and finding 100 new messages. It's overwhelming and you might miss important information because they're just too much to handle. Next is number 4 is emotions. So emotions is your feelings affect how understand a message. Example, if you're already angry, you might react more strongly and slightly critical comment than if you were in a good mood. Number 5, language. So language is words can have different meanings to different people. So example is the word sick can mean I'll or awesome depending on your talking to and the context. So last one is the communication apprehension. So communication apprehension is feeling nervous or anxious about communicating. So example of this is getting butterflies in your stomach before giving a presentation is a common sign of communication apprehension. So that's all. Thank you.
So now I'll be talking about tax versus maintenance rules. So tax rules help the group achieve its goals. Example, someone keeping track on the deadlines and assigning tasks. And maintenance rules keep the group working well together. So example, someone mediating disagreements and encouraging participation. So mo na siya. So the second one, we have presence of others. So performingly differently when others are around. So lahi ra jud pag nakatanan. So example, a skilled musician might play even better in front of an audience, while someone new to playing an instrument might make more mistakes. So, and the last one, you have the social loofing or free riding. So, not contributing your fair share in a group. So, example, in a group assignment, one person does all the work while the others do little to nothing but still get credit. So, katong mga pabuhat or dumbbell. So, mo